KHQA This Morning. It's your news now.
We're going to check in with our friend Kristen Aguirre, who is out and about in Q-Town this morning. Hey, Kristen.
Good morning. We are here at the John Wood Mansion, and we are calling all history buffs. The Quincy Park District and the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County are teaming up for Amateur History Roadshow, and they want you to get involved. A little bit confused? We'll have all the details coming up after the break. You're watching KHQA This Morning.
Let's check in with Kristen Aguirre, who has given us a history lesson today. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. Well, we are here at the John Wood Mansion, which I was just informed is the largest artifact the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County own. And now they want to know what artifacts you own. So what do we have coming up this weekend?
We have the Amateur History Roadshow coming up from 2 to 5 p.m. this coming Sunday at the Gardner Museum. And it'll be an opportunity for people to bring their antiques, their artifacts, documents, to show others about something about their lives and to learn from others something about what they have.
Now, I attended this last year. That was the first time you and I met, Reg.
Yes.
And there's a lot of stuff there, I mean, including old photos.
Old photos, old books, old postcards. And most importantly, we were just thrilled to see for the first time something that was written by Father Augustus Tolton, who is now on the path to sainthood in the Catholic Church. A lady brought a document, and it was a certificate of First Holy Communion, and it was signed by Augustus Tolton. She didn't know what she had, and we were thrilled to see it because the sainthood path of Father Tolton was just announced.
Now, why was this so important for the Historical Society and to team with the Park District to hold this?
Well, I guess the first thing is here we're all antiques. But to be serious, it's just a wonderful time for people to feel the thrill of history. And history in Quincy is just so incredible. We have had national spotlights that we didn't even know existed in Quincy. We're learning every day about Quincy's history, which had importance nationally. So it's just fun to share history with people.
It is, and this morning we are going to continue to share that history. We're going to head inside the John Wood Mansion, and we're going to show you some artifacts that some people here in Quincy brought so they could show you.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, she is talking about one of my favorite things from high school, history. What do you got for us, Kristen?
Good morning. We are here at the John Wood Mansion, and we are calling all you history buffs out there. This weekend, the Quincy Park District and the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County are holding an amateur history roadshow. Now, with me now is Roger Frankenhoff, and he was at last year's, and he has a very unique collection of postcards here. Now, Roger, how long have you been collecting these?
Oh, between 18 and 20 years.
20 years. So you marked this page for us. So what do we have here?
This is a post office that was at 8th and Hampshire at Quincy. This is the original building built in 1876. As you can see in the second picture, there's an addition which was added on in 1910. And again, there was an addition in 1929.
And you have a ton of pages like this where you've seen the progression of some buildings. Now, what made you want to capture Quincy's history through postcards?
Well, they're picture perfect. There's no mistake. It's just like you taking pictures of your kids as they grow up. Quincy grew. Some of these photos are picture postcards are from 1910, 1920. So obviously you have, quote, the perfect picture of Quincy.
Should we show this other very cool postcard that you have here? Which one do we have here?
This is from the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904. And it's called a Hold to Light postcard, which when you put a light behind it like we have, it illuminates the windows and the moon.
It looks so cool. Well, a lot of more stuff to show you here this morning, going back into Quincy and Adams County history. So make sure you stay tuned and check out everything we have.
All right. Well, let's check in with Kristen Aguirre, who is at the John Wood Mansion this morning. Hey, Kristen.
Good morning. We are here at the John Wood Mansion, and we are talking history. This weekend, the Quincy Park District and the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County are teaming up for Amateur History Roadshow that will be held Sunday. So, you guys were at last year's and with Jane and Paul Moody, and now you guys have some different things you're going to bring to the table this year. So, what do we have here?
We have the first register of the school that William S. Gray taught at in 1904 and 1905.
And so people who don't know who William S. Gray is.
William S. Gray is the author of the Dick and Jane books of that we all learned to read with. And in this particular year, he had 29 students and aged from 6 to 14 in grades 1st to 7th.
Wow. And I think that's so exciting because you can actually see this history, you can touch it, you can see it. Now, what other artifacts do we have here with us?
Years ago, the country children didn't have the fancy book bags that children have nowadays. It consisted just of a leather strap and a handle, and that's how they carried their books back and forth to school. They didn't have new lunch pails with pretty pictures each year. They used a lunch pail that was just a tin that perhaps their parents had gotten some other food or supplies in.
Now, this year, you guys really went to some other organizations because you wanted to make the roadshow a little bit bigger than last year.
Yes. We first of all, the Adams County retired teachers really got us interested in country schools because they moved one onto the Adams County Old Time Association property out by the fairgrounds. And we got both those organizations involved, and then you see next some old irons, and they came from the Lewis Round Barn. The one iron, I can't imagine how women could ever have used that, but they heated that on the coal stove, and then you could raise it up and put hot coals inside, and it's extremely heavy.
Well, I definitely would not want to be using that iron when I iron my clothes.
No.
Well, this is just a small part of the artifacts that are going to be shown this Sunday at the Amateur Roadshow, and coming up later in the show, we have a lot of more history to show you.
Very nice. Now, Kristen Aguirre is learning all about Quincy's history this morning.
That's right. We're going to check in with her. What's she doing over there?
We are here at the John Wood Mansion, and we are talking history. This Sunday, the Quincy Park District and the Historical Society of Quincy and Adams County are teaming up for an Amateur History Roadshow. Now, with me now is Pat Humphrey, who will be there. And Pat, you are a walking artifact.
I dress for the part.
So what do we have here?
We've got, this is 1880s, 1890s baseball. There again, every town had a team back then, and so there's, you know, I've enjoyed collecting artifacts.
This is so cool. Now look how thick it is. Like, how could you even play?
Two hands. You caught everything with two hands, not one. You weren't able to squeeze this. You caught it with two hands.
Two hands. All right. And then what about the bat we have here?
That's an early, we call it town ball bat. Somebody had seen a bat and they decided to make one of their own, and so this is kind of a custom-made walnut bat, probably around 1880.
Now, this looks like a piñata bat that my family uses. So
I'll have to take your word for that.
It's so thin. Now they don't look, I mean, I feel like they look so much
this
different.
This is heavy.
Thin, but oh, it is. How would you swing with this?
Very carefully.
Now, tell us a little bit about your outfit.
Well, this would have been a typical, what they call a bib front jersey. A lot of your fire departments back then also were athletic teams. Mm-hmm. So that's why this is like it is.
And we were talking about the weather. How did they play in it's wool? It's
wool. Well, you would sweat a lot. That's all there is to it. Yeah, all the uniform would have been wool, and like your catcher's equipment. You can just imagine trying to catch a baseball game back then. But on Sunday, I'll have some Quincy artifacts. These aren't necessarily Quincy artifacts, but I'll have some from back in the most famous baseball game played here in Quincy was in 1907. Where a team, the soon-to-be world champion Chicago Cubs, came to Quincy and played a baseball game here.
Wow. With Kristen Aguirre again right now.
Yes, we just saw a picture of the nation's capital. Now she's going to tell us a little bit more about our
local. We are here at the John Wood Mansion, and we are talking history. Now, we can't talk Adams County history without talking with Reg Ingram. So what are some of the unique artifacts that you have here?
Well, one of the most exciting things at last year's History Roadshow was when a lady brought in a certificate, and this is a copy of it, and it was a certificate of the First Holy Communion that Father Augustus Tolton had served to a young lady in Quincy, and we had his actual signature. It was a thrill to be able to see something from Father Tolton, who is today on his on the road to sainthood in the Catholic Church.
And what else do we have?
And then we also have a book. It's a small book of history by vignette. It's written by Thad Ward. And it's a book of stories, and there are probably 1,000 stories in this little book, including the story of the first Christmas in Quincy, which was at John Wood's cabin. And Thad Ward wrote that John Wood provided the whiskey, and the 12 guests stayed all night.
I knew I liked John.
Yes, yes.
And what is this poster we have here?
This poster, this pennant, actually relates to national history because in the early part of the 20th century, Teddy Roosevelt was busting trusts, and one happened to be Standard Oil. And the Standard Oil Company actually had stations here in Quincy. there was another company owned by the Richardson family in Quincy called USA Oil. And they fought the trust of Standard. And so this pennant says Richardson's Antitrust Oils and Gasoline.
Now, people can check out all of these artifacts this Sunday. So
This
what
Sunday.
time and where do they need to be?
At the Gardner Museum from 2 to 5 p.m. Sunday afternoon. And they'll see all these wonderful pieces that came from people's attics and collectors, a lot of artifacts. So we invite them to join us Sunday.
All right, well, if you're interested in learning more about all the information and history you've been learning about all morning, make sure you visit our website, connecttristates.com.